This is my first video, and I'm probably gonna look back at this and cringe and feel embarrassed, but you have to start somewhere, and this is where I'm starting. Basically today I want to the reason for this video is I am starting a project. It's called the Head Start Project, and part of this I have decided to do a 30-day challenge for myself, and every day I'm going to be posting a video. What am I posting about? Basically, it's been in my heart for a really long time, this idea that school and the education system doesn't really teach us the things that we really need to live a successful life. We get taught things like English and maths, which are useful and of course are needed. But there are so many essential components to life beyond a 9-to-5 job, which is obviously what they try to prepare us for. But there is this life outside of work that I always felt that I was lacking knowledge in. And so basically I've set to myself this challenge to every day for 30 days, or 31, or 31, just till the end of December basically. I'm going to be recording a video every day, choosing one topic that I believe that I wish that I had learnt when I was a kid, that I wish that I had learnt earlier. Some of this has been inspired from other people who I've met along my journey. Some of it's just in my own heart and just what I, even back when I was in school, was like, why are we not learning this? Some ideas of what I'm going to be talking about are things like relationships, how to navigate them, why there is so much confusion, communication, the essentials of what that means, and understanding what respect is in terms of how do we interact with the world around us respectfully. Gosh, there's so much. Finances. Okay, to be clear, I'm going to just say this disclaimer. I haven't mastered all of these. These are some things I have been working through, and other things I'm still working on. Actually, quite a lot of them I'm working on, if I'm honest. But basically, it's just me in the last 10 years since I've left school and reflecting on what I have learnt in these 10 years, and if I could put all these and package them up into 30 days of insightful little videos, what would I talk about? So yeah, that's gonna be my little piece. And yeah, just as like part of my intro, I really wanted to share a bit about who I am, just so you guys know a little bit about me, what I've been up to, and my story, just for some context. So basically, I left school when I was 17. Yeah, I was 17. And I wanted to travel the world. That was in my heart. I was like, I don't want to do any more school. Like, I'm done with that. I just did 17 years of that crap. No, I just did 15 years of that crap. 14? I obviously need to work on my math skills. Obviously didn't pay attention there. Damn, my calculator, where is it? No, I've significant amount of time in school. You know what, I'm going to count the early years as education as well, because even when we are a child, we are still learning in the environment we're in, regardless of whether we're in a schooling system or not. So home is kind of a education of a kind. Anyway, so left school, didn't really want to go to more school, but my dad didn't go to university. He never had that opportunity, and so he really wanted that for me. And so I went to university because dad knows best. No, it's just part of the way I was socialized. As a child, it was, your worth was dependent on your how educated you were. And so I carried along, went and did my degree, my first degree, and it was a bit of a lost 2 years. It was just studying and learning, and those years were kind of cool because I did open my mind to what it meant to be living on my own in kind of a controlled environment, and to experiment with what I liked and what I didn't like. And then through that, I found that I love psychology. I love people and their minds, and connecting with people was just my thing. I loved it, and I wanted to understand how I could connect with other people more. And at the time, I was coming from a place of, I want to help people. That was kind of my goal. I was like, okay, if I have to do a job, if I have to do a job, let's be honest, no one wants to work. If I have to do a job, I want to be doing something where I'm helping others. And what I realized in hindsight is that I actually needed to help myself. Anyone who's wanting to help others wants to help themselves. And so I went into psychology, and I have a theory that anyone studying psychology really is just trying to understand their own messed up mind. And it's true, I really needed to understand some things that I went through as a child that really I had never gotten resolution from or worked through. And so I went on to study my second degree, psychology. Then after that, that was really just a couple of years of head down, really trying to fit the mold, fit the 9 to 5, going to university, studying, saving the money. And it's funny, in this time, I got really ill. I started to get really, really sick. And it was to the point where I started to not be able to get out of bed. It was excruciating pain, debilitating, couldn't do things that I would regularly do or enjoy, and my life just started to get a bit, I didn't have a very good quality of life. It was work, it was home, it was study, it was not good. And so I started to get really, really unwell, and I found yoga. Loved the practice, loved the mental component of yoga, the practice. And I found a really good teacher, and he encouraged me to go do my teacher training. And that was kind of a spark for me. That was where I think it really all started. And when I had this spark and interest to pursue this, I went into my teacher training in 2014, and that year I worked so hard, and I started to really look at my diet and my exercise, and really cleaning up my life mentally, physically, just did a huge overhaul. And I started looking at my environment and like really assessing what was working for me and what wasn't. And it was at the end of that year, midway through the year, I decided that I was gonna go for a trip to Canada to go and live out my dream. In high school, I had a dream to go and be a ski instructor. I'd skied my whole life, I loved it. And so I went over to go and try and get my next certification, so that when I finished my honors, I was in my third year at this time. When I finished my honors, I would be able to go and instruct. Turns out I got over there and I started feeling better. The symptoms that the doctors had told me would be with me for life, the disease that they told me that I would carry around and be immobilized and be in and out for surgeries and in and out for all these horrible things that I don't even really like to talk about, because it was just not true for me, and I didn't want that to be my reality. I didn't want that to be my life, and I didn't accept that as something that I would be living. And unless, of course, I was, living my best life and then it still was there, that would be just something I would deal with. But I knew in my heart that the reason my body was telling me this was it didn't like what I was doing. It didn't like the environment. It didn't like my lifestyle. And so when I was in Canada, I decided on a whim to drop everything. It gives me shivers to think about it, but I called up my boss and I resigned from my jobs. Jobs plural, sorry. I called up my bosses and just said, I'm not coming home. That must have been the weirdest email and not very in my, what do you call it? I'm quite a loyal person, and so that was quite a hard thing for me to do. But I knew in my heart that it was my calling to go and be with myself and do what I wanted to do for once, and what I wanted to do, not what someone told me I should. And it was amazing. So I spent 4 years there, ended up staying there for 4 years somehow, and I lived in Whistler, and I went to Big White, and I traveled around Vancouver and Vancouver Island, and I went down to LA for weekend trips. I went to San Francisco and New York, and I started taking all these things off my bucket list, this big long list of things I wanted to do with my life. And my days just started being happy, just because. And shockingly, unsurprisingly, all of the symptoms of my physical body went away. I was starting to be active every day. I was teaching. I was doing something I loved. Even though it was hard work, I loved it. And I didn't like the politics of it all. Anyway, so long story short, I was over there for 4 years, and then I had run out of visas, and so it was time to come home. And in this time while I was away, I had started a little business called Active Kids Yoga because I loved teaching yoga, and especially to kids. Just everything about kids to me was super exciting. Just something about them. There's this free-spirited, they don't care what anyone thinks of them. They're just this kind of unique mini adult. They have their own opinions, their own desires, their own wants, their own needs, but they don't care about anyone else. They haven't been socialized yet to know that they shouldn't love what they love, that they shouldn't just be like, I'm wearing this today. Like, I don't care, I'm going to wear a unicorn onesie because I want to. And they don't have that socialization into them that it's unacceptable to do that. Or, that Rocco Good Space Bun, inspired by a 4-year-old, these are. Rocco Good Space Bun because they want to. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just find kids inspiring. Anyway, so that was me. And I had worked with kids in my time over in Canada and just through a lot of jobs. Anyway, so all through all of this process, all of my personal things that I'd overcome, my illness, my breaking away from social expectations of my father's expectations, of my family's expectations of me, and just really connecting into what I wanted for my life and what I wanted that to look like. And then I ran out of visas and I came back to Australia. And so I've just been here for the last couple of months, and I've really been trying to not be negative Nelly because I had so many negative associations to Australia because I had gotten sick here. I had to be a certain person in a certain way in a certain time when I was here. This is where I grew up. That's where all that was socialized into me. So when I came back, it was almost like a time warp of coming and stepping back into the old me who felt those feelings and had those expectations put on them and all these kinds of things. And I've had to really work at unpacking those and really looking at them and looking at what was mine and what wasn't mine. And in this unpacking, I found this project. I found this thing that had been in my heart for so long. I think the first time I ever thought about what school doesn't teach us, I thought about in year 10. I actually, the day it happened, sat down on my computer and I wrote this big long essay about it. And it was so exciting to me. It was so exciting. It just lit me up. And that sat on my computer for 4 or 5 years, and I found it when I was 22, and that excited me. And I think that was actually the year that I went overseas. Yeah, that was the year I went. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, maths again. Anyway, it's just part of me. I'm accepting it. And yeah, so that was the year that I was going overseas, and so I found it again, and it was so exciting to me. And then I was 2 years into my time in Canada, and I had a huge breakup, and that was another level of my identity that just got shifted and moved, and I found this again, and now I'm again in the 4th unveiling of this thing, this idea that I really want to speak to the parents, the leaders, the mentors, and the teachers, and I want to reach out to all of you, and I want you because I want to be connecting with you, because you are the people who are the influences of the next generation. And I have been, this whole idea of doing these 30 days and looking at what I wish that I had learned, it's my hope that you see something in these videos, something that inspires you, and you go, yeah, okay, I wish that I had learned that earlier. That what a gift that would have been. And a lot of these things it's been my question of the last 6 months. I'll just ask people, what do you wish that you had learned earlier as a child? And from a lot of these responses, I've come up with this list, and it's way longer than 30, but I've chosen 30. And so it's my wish that you find something in this that you're like, yeah, that is super relevant. And if you are a parent, it's not that you need to be sitting down and doing a huge regimented program to instill this into your kid. It's just things that you can integrate into your life personally, or be aware of. And kids look at what you're doing, and they are inspired by you, and they follow your lead. And then also, if I have any ideas, I don't know that I'll have one for everyone, but if I have any ideas based on my experience working with kids, if I have an idea of a way that you could integrate it with a kid, I'm not super into the teen scene, but if I do have any ideas based on my own teen experience, because I did live that not so long ago, but kind of it feels like a century ago. Anyway, I'll give advice where I can. But yeah, so I'm currently working in a daycare, and so I'm again working with kids, and in my ski instructing, I worked there for 4 years, and every day we had a new set of kids, and I did soccer coaching and yoga instructing through my own business, and then I've also taught in another business, and and a lot of my experience and knowledge that I gained through my degree, and just a lot that I've gained over the years just from personal exploration and personal growth and development and things that I've just worked on in myself. I'm going to share it all. So this is it, and I'm just going to finish with a little bit about me. This is a few clips from my time overseas, and my time being back in Australia, and yeah, just to give you a little insight into life and the happenings of this girl over here in this little tiny part of the world. So I hope you enjoy it. Have an amazing day.
And successful. Not hockey stop. The other one. Woo! Do I put my hood on? Is that what we do? Yes, you definitely should. I feel like it's just gonna get in.
You got this.